The morning in Los Angeles was gray. The sky was hazy, the streets busy, but silent. Sarah Miller gripped the steering wheel of her beat-up Toyota tightly. She wore a faded brown cardigan, and on the back seat sat a few science models and a scuffed-up tote bag. 7:42 a.m., 18 minutes until the bell rang. But the engine? Click, click. No, please, not now. She turned the key again. The engine coughed and died. Sarah let her hands drop from the wheel and closed her eyes. Just one more day. I just need to get through one more day, she whispered. They were supposed to do experiments in class today. The kids had been waiting weeks for it, and she was still 6 miles from school. She opened the car door. The sun hadn't come up yet, but under the flickering streetlight, she grabbed her bag. She got ready to walk. Then suddenly, a Tesla Model X pulled up beside her. The window rolled down and a man called out, "Looks like you're having car trouble. Need a hand?" Sarah turned her head, surprised. He wore a dark hoodie, had a scruffy beard, but looked familiar. "I think the battery's dead," she said, trying to smile. "I just really need to get to school. I'm a teacher." The man stepped out. He glanced at her car, then back at her. "Elon," he said, holding out his hand. "Elon Musk." Sarah froze. For a second, all she could hear was the wind. She was a science teacher. She literally taught her students about the innovations from his companies. And now, the founder of Tesla was standing there, helping her with her car. Sarah didn't know what to say. She stood frozen in front of Elon Musk. But time was ticking. "You're seriously going to help me?" she asked, still stunned. Elon nodded. "Let's just say I know my way around tech," he said with a grin. He popped the trunk of his Tesla and pulled out a small jump starter. Kneeling down, he clipped the cables and motioned for her to try the ignition. Sarah took a breath like she was saying a prayer, then turned the key. The engine coughed and finally roared to life. "I owe you," she said, "but I'm still late. 9 kilometers in 10 minutes? No way." Elon gave a quick wink. "Then hop in. I'll give you a ride. You said school, right? What subject?" "Science, 8th grade." "Perfect," Elon said. "Teach me something on the way." As they drove, Sarah launched into a mini version of that day's lesson. Energy conversions, battery systems, the future of solar panels. She spoke with passion, gesturing in the air as if her hands were still holding chalk. Elon listened, genuinely impressed. "How long have you been teaching?" 11 years, with less funding, less respect, but the same fire. She paused, turned to the window. People think world changers live in labs or lecture halls, but sometimes it starts with the hands that hold the chalk. Elon gripped the wheel tighter. Her words echoed in his head. They pulled up to the school. Sarah grabbed her bag and swung the door open. "You might be the only one who saw me today, but I see my students every single day, and that's enough. Isn't it?" Elon nodded slowly. "Sometimes one lesson is worth more than 1,000 prototypes." Sarah ran inside. Elon sat in his car quietly, taking it all in. This woman, she's not just a teacher. She's the definition of inspiration. Part 3, Revolution in the Classroom. Sarah rushed into the classroom, slightly out of breath. Her students looked up, surprised, some curious, others quietly concerned. She was never late, ever. "Sorry, guys," she said, trying to catch her breath. "Had a bit of car trouble, but thanks to a miracle, I made it." The class chuckled softly. Then Sarah did what she always did, walked to the board. But this time, she didn't write a word. She wrote a question. Where does real energy begin? Today, we're going to learn what I had planned, but we're doing it differently. The silence in the room wasn't about focus anymore. It was pure curiosity. Sarah began. "Someone helped me today, jump-started my car, but more importantly, reminded me of my power. And I want to remind you of something too. Science doesn't just live in labs. It lives everywhere, in your lives, in your choices, and yes, in you." One student raised their hand. "Miss Miller, who helped you?" Sarah smiled softly. Maybe you'll meet him one day, she said. But what matters more than his name is what he reminded me. Sometimes all it takes is one spark to change an entire generation. The classroom was silent. Not awkward, not bored, but the kind of silence that makes you think, that warms something deep inside. Then, a knock on the door. The principal peeked in, and standing next to him was a very familiar figure. The student's eyes widened. Sarah stopped breathing for a second. Elon Musk stepped into the room. "Excuse me," he said. "Didn't want to miss today's lesson." The class didn't say a word, but something lit up in their eyes. Possibility. Part 4. Becoming the student. The classroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. When Elon Musk sat down in the empty chair at the back, every student's eyes went wide. Sarah still hadn't fully processed what was happening. Elon winked. "Please, carry on, teacher." Sarah paused, then turned to the board and took a deep breath. "All right," she said, "we were talking about real energy transformation." But this time she took the lesson deeper. Energy isn't just physical. Your thoughts, your curiosity, your dreams, they're all forms of energy too. And sometimes one single question can change the universe. Elon was scribbling something in a notebook. A student noticed and couldn't help but raise their hand. "Mr. Musk, are you really you?" Elon smiled. I am. But right now I'm just another student. I came here to learn today." That's when Sarah realized something. She had spent years stuck in the system. Underfunded classrooms, overcrowded schedules, endless paperwork. But now, maybe the most influential person in the world was sitting in her classroom like any other student. And maybe, just maybe, this day would be written into history. At the end of class, the students stood and applauded. But before Elon left, he turned to Sarah and said just one thing. "I didn't just learn something today. I felt how a revolution begins." Sarah didn't fully understand what he meant, not yet, but those words would carry a much deeper meaning just a few weeks later. 2 weeks had passed. Sarah had slipped back into her classroom routine, still unsure if what happened had been a dream or real life. Elon Musk had shown up, sat through her class, and left, and everything seemed back to normal on the surface. But one morning, something unusual started happening in front of the school. A Tesla Cybertruck with a massive digital screen rolled up. Then came news vans, reporters, and yes, Elon Musk was back. After a quick chat with the principal, he headed straight to Sarah's classroom. He opened the door and looked right at her. "Sorry to interrupt again," he said with a grin, "but this time, I'm not just a student, I'm also an investor." Sarah froze in surprise. Elon held up some papers. "What I saw in your class inspired me, so much that Tesla wants to become part of the learning process." Gasps and whispers of excitement filled the room. "Starting today, we're launching something called the Future Engineers Initiative right here. A brand new STEM program, labs, equipment, scholarships. It's all coming. And you, Sarah, you're going to be our first lead educator." Sarah couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her modest little classroom was becoming a model for inspiration across the country. A student raised their hand. "So, does this mean we might get to work at Tesla someday?" Elon smiled. Great question. And great questions lead to great places. Who knows? The next big engineer or inventor might be sitting in this room. Just one class, one teacher, and one act of kindness. And now the first step of a big change was officially in motion. 3 months later, Sarah wasn't just a science teacher anymore. She was now the face of Tesla's Future Engineers program. A brand new science lab had opened at the school. 3D printers, giant VR headsets, solar energy kits, micro robots, but the most important thing, kids who believed they could dream. Elon Musk showed up again for the program's very first showcase. Students presented their homemade electric vehicles, coding projects, and ideas for a cleaner future. Sarah watched quietly from the side. She was still the same person, drinking her morning coffee from the same old mug, always the first to arrive at class. But in her students' eyes, she wasn't just a teacher anymore. She was the definition of inspiration. At the end of the event, Elon stepped up to the mic. People always ask me, how do you build the future? Here's my answer. I don't. People like Sarah do. This story didn't start with fixing a car. It started with a lesson. It started with heart. The crowd gave a standing ovation. Sarah's eyes welled up with tears. A student quietly walked up to her and handed her a small note. If I ever have a teacher like you one day, I'll be really lucky. That day, Sarah realized something again. Some lessons don't end with a textbook. Some lessons echo for a lifetime, and that's why sometimes a small act of kindness, a jump start, or a kind word can become the first page of someone's whole new future. Because changing someone's life, sometimes it's as simple as saying yes.
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.